As you all know, the 23rd of September was Bisexual Visibility Day, which has been recognized every year since 1999, and now is celebrated in more than 30 countries. It's a day for increasing the visibility of bisexuality and pansexualities and raising awareness of the challenges that bi plus people face every other time of the year and everywhere. It's also time to be proud and create space for political change because monosexism, biphobia, erasure, and invisibility won't go away just by asking nicely. And we believe that through our communities, activism, and research, we can tackle these issues.
We have a really exciting day planned for you all, with panels covering topics from community to lived experiences, from political struggles to relationships. We also have a very exciting workshop planned, which will be hosted by Ollie Lipsky, and a bisexual plus music session with Vincent Paz Macareno to close the day. You can follow along with us for the full day, and whenever you want to have a snack break or anything else, don't worry, you can still find us here at this very same Zoom stream with the same Zoom link. This being a Zoom conference and all, just before we get started, we would like to run through some housekeeping for today. First, let me remind you of some Zoom etiquette. Please mute your microphones when you are not actively speaking and control the background noise. As with the last 2 years with the Bi Research conferences, we record our sessions. We want you to engage in whichever way is comfortable for you. This means turning off or on your camera, your preference. We will be recording these sessions, and when we post the videos of the event afterwards, we'll trim down the content. Our code of conduct, which you saw when you registered, has a zero tolerance policy for any sort of discrimination and hateful language. So please be mindful of the language you are adopting during the event. We encourage all participants, speakers, and attendees to share their preferred pronouns in their Zoom names and speak with inclusive language. If you encounter any sort of issue during the day, you can email us or put your questions in the chat. And then finally, for the speakers, please remember that we have a tight schedule and would love to be able to have time for questions. So please be respectful of your time allotment and test your mic and video before you talk. And you'll have the possibility to share PowerPoint and audience during your panels and workshops. Finally, if you don't already follow us on social media, please do. Our handle and our social media hashtags, I'll put them in the chat right now, and they're there for our convenience. Now I'll pass this back over to Ellen.
Great, thank you so much, Derek. And we are actually so lucky that we are kicking off today's event with a poem. So I'd like to hand over to Helen Bowell. Helen is a poet, producer, and editor. Her debut pamphlet, The Barman, Bad Betty Press 2022, was a PBS Choice. Her poems, reviews, and translations have been published in Bath Mag, Poetry London, Poetry Wales, and elsewhere. She co-directs Dead Women Poets Society, which resurrects women poets through events and online, and co-guest edited Modern Poetry and Translations Autumn 2020, focus on dead women poets. Helen also runs Bi Plus Lines, a project for Bi Plus poets, and will edit the first anthology of Bi Plus poets in English, published by 14 poems. And today we're excited to have her here to share a poem from Bi Plus Lines to open our BRAC event. So over to you, Helen.
Thanks so much, Ellen, and hi, everyone. It's very exciting indeed to be here. Happy Bi Plus Visibility Month. As Ellen has said, I'm just going to be reading you a poem from Bi Lines, which is, to my knowledge, the first anthology of Bi Plus poets ever, which is wild. I'll just quickly tell you the story behind it. Earlier this year, I got some funding from the Arts Council to run this project called Bi Lines, where we ran 8 writing workshops in London, Manchester, Glasgow, and Norwich, and online. And then I worked with the publisher 14 Poems, an LGBTQ+ publisher who you should all go and check out if you don't know them already, to open for submissions. And we received nearly 2,800 poems from 800 poets in 40 countries, which was quite the task to whittle that down to the 45 poems in the book. And the thank you. The theme of the whole project has been in-betweenness. Obviously, maybe that's you could argue that's not a very good theme, right? Because it kind of emphasizes or re-establishes the idea that there are these categories, and you know, that being bi+ is somehow between things, and maybe it would be better to call it like fluidity, or I don't know, something more spectrumy, which I think is, you know, closer to the reality. But I am interested in that feeling of being in between, both also as a mixed race person, you know, thinking about class as well. And I was interested in all the kind of different intersections that different kinds of people might feel with their bi-ness. And obviously I included within that, you know, queer, pan, all these different kinds of identities. And I kind of wanted to give people the opportunity to reclaim that in-betweenness that has been used to shut us out of both queer spaces and straight spaces. So that's the story of the book. I'm going to read to you the first poem from it, which is one of my favorite ones. It's by Freya Bantiff, and it's called What Schrodinger's Cat and My Bisexuality Have in Common. I'm weirdly obsessed with quantum mechanics for a poet, and I think it's very queer, and I've seen somebody else talk about this as well. So for those of you who don't know what Schrodinger's cat is, it's kind of a thought experiment, basically saying that there's a cat trapped in a box, and there's something radioactive that may be emitted at any moment, and we don't know exactly when it might be. The cat's sealed in the box. We don't know what's going on in the box. So according to quantum mechanics, the cat is both dead and alive at the same time. And this was actually a scientist came up with this thought experiment to be like, look how ridiculous quantum physics is. And it's not literally, I don't think, what would really happen, but it's kind of an interesting, it is kind of an interesting and accurate sort of portrayal of what would happen on a microscopic level. So you didn't expect to get some quantum physics here, but I guess we're all cross disciplines, so hopefully that's relevant. Okay, the poem. What Schrodinger's Cat and My Bisexuality Have in Common by Freya Bantiff. A dry amusement at attempts to verify their reality, an existence that persists when unobserved, a sensual strut that borders on slink, a tendency to walk both feet first, wakefulness at dusk, retractable claws, recoil response from strangers' hands, ability to curl into a question mark and not be seen, uncertainty as to whether trying to come out would be death or liberation, words that are full of reactivity, inane questions, jokes where the punchline is pussy, a suspicion carried by the scruff of the neck that many lives will be lived, but never all recognized, innate purr of conviction, fear of having no room to stretch out, an innate loathing of boxes. So that's Freya's poem and the opening poem to the book. I guess I'll drop a few links. Ellen's already kindly put in a link in the chat. We, you know, obviously I encourage you to order the book. It's £10, and we're also doing a pay it forward scheme. So you can order 2 or 3 books, and we'll donate it to an LGBTQ+ charity. And I would also encourage you to come to any of the launches that we're doing. So I've also got funding to run these celebration launch events where we'll hear some of the poems from the contributors, and some of them will have bi+ open mics as well, which has been really exciting. So then the next one is on National Coming Out Day on the 11th of October, and that one's online, so you can join from wherever you are in the world. And we're also going to London, Manchester, Norwich, Glasgow, Edinburgh, York, Brighton, and probably elsewhere. So yeah, you can follow us at @bi_poets on social media. And please get in touch with me if you are interested in any of these things or working together. I'm not an academic, but I am a nerd, and I would love to be involved in any kind of bi+ research. I've kind of been thinking about like bi+ poetics. Is there one? But yeah, I'm here, and I'm excited to see more of what today is going to hold for everyone. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much for this inspiring bit of quantum mechanics and poetry and biness. And we all loved it. I saw a lot of very, very pleased comments in the chat. So what a great way to start this day. And now we would like to hand over the mic, the virtual mic, to another Ellen, Dr. Helen Bowell Catton. Ellen is a critical social psychologist whose research focuses on the relationship between sexuality, subjectivities, and space. She's currently publishing outputs about bisexual spaces and has written extensively about bisexuality. She has also been the head of Bi UK, a bisexual research group. She has worked on and published many well-known papers about bisexuality, including the Bisexuality Report, British Bisexuality, a snapshot of bisexual representations and identities in the United Kingdom, and guidelines for researching and writing about bisexuality. Along with Dr. Kaya Meckland, she has been approached by Routledge to edit a major new reference book on bisexuality, which she will be telling us all about today. So over to you, Helen.
Hi, thank you for that lovely introduction. It's really, really exciting to be here, and I'm looking forward to listening to like loads of amazing papers during the day. And I also really, really enjoyed that poem, and I've just bought the book while I've been sat here, so I'm looking forward to getting that. I just wanted to pop up briefly, and thank you so much to the organisers for letting me do this. To let you know about the call for papers for the book that I'm co-editing with Kay McClellan. So as Lucia already said, we've been approached by Routledge to put together a major reference book on bisexuality. It's going to be the Routledge International Handbook of Bisexuality. It is surprisingly the first time that we've had an international handbook of bisexuality that really tries to bring stuff together from all over the world, and we are like thrilled and also quite daunted to have this task before us. Some of you might have heard about the book already. I have been talking about it for a couple of years now. This is very much a work of slow scholarship. We really don't want to put together one of those international handbooks that ends up being a kind of global north Anglophone, handbook. We have we did our first call for papers a couple of years ago. I know that there's quite a few people here who've already got chapters in the book, which I'm both really frustrated and excited to publish, and frustrated that they're not out there yet. But at the same time, I really want to make sure that it's properly international and properly global, this handbook. So I'm doing slow scholarship. We're really kind of resisting the urge to publish things quickly because we want to make sure that this really is the landmark field-defining book that I think it could be. So I'm here to ask you to please pass around this call for papers, which I'm about to put in the chat, to everyone you know who is working on bisexual studies, and in particular to people working outside of Anglophone countries. Particularly, I've put a huge list there's a big wish list on that webpage of things that we'd like to see discussed. We want lots of decoloniality in there. We want lots of critique. We want lots of media stuff. We want lots and lots of all the diversity of bi plus experience from all across the world in there. So you can see there's a huge wish list on there, and we're particularly interested in receiving submissions from people writing in or about Africa, Asia, Northern and Eastern Europe, and the Americas. We've got plenty of Western Europe and the UK, but there are lots of places in the world that we don't currently have coverage on. So we would love to see lots and lots and lots of really amazing submissions from all of those places. So if I can, just encourage you to have a look at the call for papers. Please do circulate it widely among your networks. If you think, oh, I bet such and such would be a great contributor. If it's not about you, but you've got someone that you know would be a really good contributor, please bring it to their attention, and maybe drop me an email as well. My address is on the webpage. and just let me know about things that you think should be included in the book. If you've got an idea that you're not quite sure about and you want to just have a chat about it before you work up a full proposal, absolutely, please. I'm really happy to work on proposals with you. So yeah, please don't hesitate to get in touch if you've got any inkling of interest at all in contributing to the book, and if you're particularly if you're from any of those regions of the globe that aren't currently sufficiently covered in all their amazing bisexual diversity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Helen, for everything you're doing, for your work, for your research, and overall, I think this is an amazing project that you have been following, and we're really proud to host it again and to look for people. And so thank you all again for being here with us today, which promises to be a great experience and event. We're here for more than 20 speakers sharing their research and insights on bisexual plus research, activism, and community with us. We hope you'll find this day as terrific as we do, and we hope that you're able to make some great connections. So we also want to make things more fluid and kind as possible. So please feel free to engage and debate politely, and just feel, the kind of bi plus joy that we all want you to give for today. And for the first session,